Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Scope. And now, here are your hosts, Jared, Adam, and Shane.
Hello again. This is The Scope Show, Jared.
Yes.
And guess what?
It's just us.
It is just us.
Adam is traveling. It is Easter weekend here in the United States of America, and I imagine worldwide.
Yes. Jared, why don't you vamp for a second? I'm getting a text from my wife that I have to take care of right now.
So, So Adam likes to travel on the weekends, on the holiday weekends specifically. He has family in...
Okay, we're good.
Both his family is on the East Coast and his wife's family is in North Dakota?
Yeah. In a Dakota.
Doesn't
really matter.
Oh. Hey, that didn't...
Are we not recording?
Yeah, it stopped. Yeah, it just decided to stop. And maybe we don't have video this time. We'll just keep rolling.
No video?
Trying. I don't know what's going on. You just do you.
I will do me. Guess what? My daughter is requesting an app. So you know what that means? I've got to approve it. So I'm doing that right now. So are we saying no video, Jared?
I'm going to reformat this drive, and then maybe we'll have video. We'll see. I think the drive just might be full.
Okay.
I didn't empty it, so we'll keep going.
Okay, sounds good.
Is she gonna get a Zert as well? That came up today, by the way. So somebody in our Slack channel at work started a new Minneapolis apps channel, and there was a bunch of like appetizer jokes going back, and I said we're gonna do Minneapolis Zerts.
And did anybody get it?
Not at first, and then I posted the clip of
one of the funniest things ever. These kids
Zerts.
nowadays, Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I call tortillas bean blankets. Who doesn't?
And what does he call pancakes? Like big ass cookies or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Cool blasters.
It's greatest. It's the greatest thing ever.
He's got a lot of names for it. Yes. So Adam is gone. I'm curious to see how that impacts the trajectory of this show. Will it be different? Because normally we don't like to record without Adam. We used to do that a lot, and then once we kind of changed how we did things, I made an executive decision that we would only record if Adam was here. If we had special guests, they would be in addition to, not replacing him.
Correct.
But since I was out last week,
yeah,
vacation type stuff, I figured we needed to get something out to the masses, and because the people are screaming for it, Jared. I go down the street and they say, "Scope, where is it?" Yeah. Or at least that's what I hear in my head.
It's a nonstop cacophony.
So what we're going to do is we'll do a show that doesn't depend on Adam's witticisms. It's just going to be a bit of a catch-up and a bit of a nerd roundtable mixed together, hodgepodge. There's a lot going on in our lives and a lot going on this week, especially this week, when you're thinking about nerd culture, which is one of the many kinds of cultures we cover on this particular podcast.
You just keep going. You can't go to break until I'm done putting this drive in the recorder.
Jared, I love it. I love that we are literally trouble. Oh, he's out of the camera now. It's very exciting. Boy, it's hard to vamp when you don't really know what to talk about.
Well, come on. There's things that happened. I guess you wouldn't want to spoil it too
Well, that's
much.
the problem. The stuff that we normally would be talking about in this segment, it's going to be in the next segment. But how about we do this we'll do this as a teaser for the next segment. I was going to talk about some nerd stuff. I'm going to save the low-hanging fruit until later in the show. But Netflix finally today, Jared, released the whole new batch of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes. People have been talking about
which
that.
It's interesting because it does come on one of the biggest Star Wars days of the year. But nonetheless, people are excited about new MST3K, especially people of our generation who lived through it when it originally was on. In my notes, I was just I wrote up that I watched it when it originally came out here in Minneapolis in 1988 on KTMA. I mean, this was pre-Comedy Central, pre-Comedy Channel. It was on here for a year or two. I don't know how long, but they didn't do a lot of episodes. But it was this really low budget thing, and it was kind of unique and funny. Not kind of, it was extremely unique.
It was very unique, yeah.
And I, was I a freshman in high school or an eighth grader? My buddy Aaron and we ate that show up. We thought it was the funniest dang thing. I remember in those days, you might have only had one or two TVs in your house. I know that's crazy. You didn't have a device to watch on it.
Oh no,
I sound like we're a million years old, but technology changed pretty fast.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would have to monopolize the television just to get to watch this, and my parents they would look at it and go, "What is this?
What?
This is a terrible movie with people,
that's sort of the point.
with people making these robots."
Yeah.
Kind of silhouetted on the screen, making these terrible comments. It's not particularly funny. It was a battle to watch that show in my house. Now, however, you've got it on DVD. They've got episodes on Netflix. They got the new episodes on Netflix.
You've got all the offshoots, people doing live shows, riff tracks. And
it's interesting because this is a concept that could go on forever, as long as you have movies to parody or flame up.
Flame up.
You could do it, Human Torch style. So, Jared, I think we've talked about this before. I think we probably mentioned it when the Kickstarter for this happened. Was it a year or two ago? I don't even know how long ago. You did not watch Mystery Science Theater ever?
I've caught bits here and there, but it's always been in the context of friends showing me stuff. I never looked for it on TV.
Are you going to give this one a shot? At least
I don't think it's a high priority for me.
I loved it a lot.
Yeah.
But once it kind of went to the cable, I didn't watch it as religiously. And especially at the end, when they switched hosts from Joel to Mike.
Yeah.
I was never a Mike fan. And I know that's a big I don't think that's controversial. I just know that's always been a delineating thing in fandom on this.
Sure.
But I'm kind of thinking about maybe watching an episode with my daughter just to see what she thinks of it. She is nerdy enough and clever enough where it might appeal to her. I'm not sure. So, I wasn't much older than her when it came out.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So I'm wondering if that subtle humor is something that, the stuff that you definitely get it on the surface. They do a lot of surface jokes, but sometimes there's some deeper cuts in there that are interesting. So
you also run the risk though that she's at that age where she might not like it simply because dad likes it.
Yeah.
Never know.
But I don't know how I'm going to pitch it to her.
Might just throw it on. It's like, what's this thing all about?
This is the greatest thing ever. You must watch it. I mean, I tried that with Star Wars.
And impose my culture on you.
Yeah, it didn't work so well. You got to let your kids find their own way in
she likes
the
Star Wars,
cultural.
doesn't she?
She's okay with Star Wars.
She's just not fanatic like you are.
And you, Jared. Don't just throw me under the
me.
bus.
Never.
So how's that dry formatting, Jared?
Oh, we're ready.
We're ready.
You
feel good about it?
I got a big red line here. It means I'm recording. Red means recording.
Red means recording.
Yeah.
In this scope world.
Yeah.
So how about this? Let's buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride, Jared. No Adam here to stabilize us.
God.
It's like
I don't get a break. I don't get any downtime. You don't get any downtime.
We are flying without a parachute or maybe a rudder.
Either one. We have no paraphernalia.
So let's catch up. We'll be back. We'll take a break. We'll catch up on some nerd news. We'll catch up on some personal spring breaky type news and maybe some coming soon. So, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more Scope 253 right after this.
Would you like to get Adam back on the show? The only way it's going to happen is if you support us on Patreon. Consider supporting us. Patreon.com/The Scope Show. That's what happens when you ad-lib the script. The sentences that you look to read at just don't work out. At Patreon, you can pledge as little as $1 per episode, set a monthly cap, and cancel anytime. Patreon helps you support creators directly, and your support means we can keep on doing this show. So get to it, folks. Patreon.com/The Scope Show. That's not it.
And we are back with The Scope. Woo! Your complete culture cast, Jared. That's our new catchphrase we're going to float.
You workshopping it now?
I'm workshopping it, see how it feels. Complete culture cast.
Recording on a Friday night after a full day of work for me.
Yeah.
You had it off.
This is unusual.
Well, if I'm a little punchy, that's why. I've had a full week of work and a full work day.
A fur walk week.
Yes. And there are a couple Ewoks in there too.
My day off, Jared, involved, I was going to do some painting in the house, but instead we had a...
Artistic or...
Not artistic.
No? You're not going to do like a mural situation?
Utilitarian. I wasn't going to do like a Jared on the half shell.
I thought maybe like some sort of like a Sistine Chapel treatment.
A fresco?
Yeah. Why not?
grind up some clay to get some of those colors to really pop.
Do you have any antique artwork that needs restoring in your house?
I do. A lot of it. Yeah. I figured you would be the man for it if that came to be.
I can't promise results, but I will give it a shot.
Wow, it's turned into Antiques Roadshow here. So yeah, let's do a little information dump, Jared. Let's start with spring break.
Mm-hmm. You traveled.
I did travel. I'm sure that our faithful listeners remember me a couple years ago talking about my big trip to Mexico.
Unlimited nachos. That's what we learned. Unlimited takeaway.
That's right. If that's the one thing from that story. It was unlimited nachos.
People taking them back to their rooms.
Oh, that was so disgusting. Well, I went back to Mexico, but this trip was a little bit different. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if I talked about this on the show before, but it was a trip at least a year and a half in the making.
That's a lot of planning.
And it involved about 60 other people.
Oh my.
That's a lot of people. So my kid has gone to a dual language school for a number of years. And one of the things that is notable about this school is that at least the parents that we hang out with, that are Audrey's friends, they're very, very involved in the school. I mean, you sort of have to be, especially when you're dealing with a small little charter type of school where they don't necessarily have all the resources and all the backing of important school board members. I think they're like the little engine that could. At any rate, there's a high level of parental participation.
Sure.
And one of the groups is like the fundraising group, and they've been together for years. And about 2 years ago, this fundraising group, which we are not a part of because we're lazy, terrible parents, but we are friends with the people on it. They decided that they were going to plan a big vacation to Mexico. You know, let's go down there. Let's bring our families, our kids.
Wow.
The kids can speak the language here. That's the whole thing. And so
I expect a report on how that worked out.
Yeah, that will be a part of this. That will be a part of this conversation. So, there's a couple of type A's on this planning group.
A couple of real type A's.
But in this case, very, very good because they took care of so much of the planning. But at any rate, they're sort of the smaller group of parents and families planned this trip, and for some reason, we got an invite to it, and it was, hey, you guys want to come with, and we jumped at the opportunity, and it's interesting because I don't want to say like there's levels of friends, but I mean within these parents, I feel like I've always felt like me anyway, a bit of an outsider in the sense that I feel like I wouldn't be the first guy that they would call.
Sure.
And probably because they're not doing podcasts and they're not, I mean, there's a little bit of nerdiness, but I don't know. I've always felt that way, whether it be true or not. So it was cool to be invited.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know how it was going to play out, how the interaction would be, because Carrie is far more connected to, especially the moms of this group. But we got the invite, and what ended up happening is there was a local property owner who lives in Richfield. That's the town we are in. But they had property in Puerto Morelos, which is a smaller kind of touristy town, but also like a retirement place. So you actually see a lot of Americans down there.
Retirees.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's about 20 minutes south of Cancun, not all the way down to Playa del Carmen, which is kind of the big, the Riviera Maya area.
I'm going to pull up a map just so I know what we're talking about here. You just keep talking.
Yes. So this local person owns all these properties down there, and worked out great because everyone could rent a house, or in our case, we rented one apartment in a kind of, it was almost like a townhouse of 4 apartments. That we called the Hispanic Melrose Place because there's these 4 apartments and they all have balconies, or they lead right out to this big pool, and then everybody sort of hangs out.
Oh wow, you're right out on the Yucatan.
Yeah, I mean we are right out there, and so yeah, this sort of popped up about a year and a half ago, and then there was a lot of planning in terms of what type of events are we going to do, who is going to be going on these things, and there was that concern. There were some parents who were like, boy, I don't want to be forced to hang out with everyone like you would if it were a family vacation, especially when you have that many people. And, we had our apartment, and then right across the street, there were a couple of houses with people. And then there, 3 blocks, one other direction, there would be a group of people, where the fact, I think there was about 12 or 13 families there with about 59 people. And it, believe it or not, Jared, tiny drama, if any.
Wow.
I mean, it just was not. It was not dramatic at all. People sort of figured out what they wanted to do. And I have to tell you, it was such a marked difference. Like if you think about technology, when we went down just a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago, the hotel that we stayed in, had cable, but it was, not great. The internet was terrible. I mean, you had it, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And now we go down there, and with that internet, by the way, we had to buy an additional plan that we blew out like in a day
on your mobile phones.
On our mobile phones, and I think that we are. If our bill was $180 normally a month when you're paying for phones, it was at least double that when we got back. But this time around, hey, AT&T, Mexico, same as the U.S. It was perfect. They had LTE down there when we were down there.
Crazy.
Our apartment had cable. It had Netflix. It had It had Wi-Fi.
That's part of the deal, huh?
And we were staying in. Think about this. We were staying pretty much like in a studio type of apartment. It had a wall that separated the bedroom, but it was a half wall. I mean, it was. It was, and some other people were staying in houses that, I shit you not, were nicer than maybe any house I've ever been in.
Wow.
I mean, it was unbelievable, the stuff that was down. Marble.
Did they just decide to spend more and stay in a nicer place?
Well, here's the thing. We have a family of 3.
Yeah.
So for us to get a house like that, either we would have to share with someone.
Right.
Or we would be spending a lot. Whereas I think that the place that we stayed in was a little over $100 a night. That's how cheap it was.
Okay.
It was awesome. And going down there, we went on Delta, and every other time we go to small carriers like Sun Country or something. At Sun Country, literally they pack you in like sardines.
Sure.
Delta, they've got they've got screens in every television. Carrie watched on the way down and on the way back. She watched 3 Oscar movies. On the way back. I watched Rogue One. on the plane coming back. I couldn't for free. I mean, it was nice. It was like I was living in some sort of rich person.
Yeah, I've flown Delta before. They're way better than Sun Country.
The person behind me or in front of me, Jared, both times did not recline their seat. Didn't recline their seat. I mean, it was like heaven.
Nice.
I got 2 packs of peanuts one time. 2 packs of peanuts.
Wow. Did you save one just for an emergency, or did you eat them both?
I devoured them, Jared. I'm not going to wait.
How long is the flight?
The flight's about 4.5 hours or so. 4 hour. I take that back. If you have a good tailwind, it could be under 4 hours, but 4 hours and a little change is not bad. But you watch a movie, you get your food. I had my Nintendo Switch, so I played Zelda.
Are you a plane pooper?
I don't go to the bathroom on the plane, Jared.
You're like me. You make sure you're completely drained before you get on that plane.
It doesn't matter if I'm drained.
It just doesn't happen.
When I'm walking up to that ticket desk to give them my ticket, my body turns off.
Shuts everything down.
It's like it goes into stasis mode, and you could seal me in a capsule for 90 years, and I wouldn't go to the bathroom, just like Aliens, or what's the name of that Chris Pratt movie?
Passengers.
I was a passenger, but instead of 90 years, I shut down for 4 hours.
That's fair. I mean, 4 hours, you can do that.
Yes, it was awesome. I am a solid traveler when it comes to that. So we get there, and part of the interesting thing about going into Mexico is that they've got you go through customs.
Yeah, and things have sort of changed on that front. At least, not going down probably.
Yeah, not going down. Coming back, it was different, a little bit different. We actually could you don't talk to people. You go to a kiosk, and they scan your passport. And of course, Audrey's passport didn't work. But normally, you could probably be in and out of customs if it's not too busy in like 10 minutes. And that's about what it took.
And that's arriving in Mexico.
No, in the U.S. But in Mexico.
Oh, really?
In Mexico.
Well, you're white, so that helps.
That is exactly it, though. So getting down there in Mexico, the other two times we've been there, they've had this system where you get your bags and then you go into a queue. And you go up literally to like a big red button, and you push the button. I think I talked about this the last time I went to Mexico. And is
there a chance of winning a prize?
And if the light turns red, you get yanked out of the line. If the light turns green, you just get to go right on through.
So was red like a cavity search?
Red is like they will open your bags, and when you go on
special
vacation,
screening,
yes,
sure.
and they
additional screening, whatever.
They destroy your bags.
Yeah.
But we got there, and
you nicely rolled up all your clothes to try to maximize space. Yeah. That's all over.
It's like one of those fake candy or fake nut jars you open up and the spring snakes come popping out.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
So yeah, we get there and there's a line of probably about 100 people coming out of the queue.
Okay.
But there's a line right next to it that literally nobody is in because the main line sort of goes to where the bags are.
Okay.
So if you just get your bags and you go into the first line, that's what you get. So we just sort of walked around everybody with our friends and right into line. And our friends in front of us.
Look at you, the king of town.
Mm-hmm, our friends right in front of us, and this is tired. We probably rolled in about 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And we're just hoping we don't get this flag. And they have a larger family. Their son was on the edge of a meltdown. Good kid, but he was ready to be wherever he needed to be. They push the button, red. So they get yanked over. We go through. But then we're trying to figure out the cash machines because where we're at, they highly suggest you do all pesos.
Okay, interesting.
Most of the time we've been down there, we've gotten limited pesos. You could just pay with American dollars. The problem is that with that, you tend to get overcharged. Like, they'll round up. So
yeah, because you're not used to the conversion rate, and you're not. People just aren't doing the math in their head.
Yes. So I'm trying to understand this cash machine, and I'm starting to, when I'm in places where I don't know the language and I'm a bit under stress, I get panicked inwardly, and Carrie gets a bit aggravated, and so we start to snip at each other. But I'm trying to figure out this cash machine, and then it says
the numbers all in Spanish.
No, you can get into English, but like the number, so you're automatically thinking in American dollars, right? You're not converting. So you'll get a message that says if you want to do this, the fee is going to be like $350 with a dollar sign. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a $350 for like, no. That's like, or whatever it is, or like $32. And it's in pesos. So like the fee is $1.50 or something like that. But we finally get that figured out. Our friends get through. And then we end up going and blowing so much money at the duty-free station for booze. Because that's what so when you go into their liquor store in the airport.
Sure.
It's not like you just grab your stuff and you go up to the counter. They actually have like a helper, what would be like
like a porter, a concierge
service type thing where you go in and you point out everything you want. Like, or if you grab something off the shelf, they literally will run over and grab it from you.
Like a stevedore.
And they carry a stevedore.
I know.
And they carry everything.
Yeah.
And then they put it up on the counter.
Okay.
And and they put barcodes. They don't ever let you touch the bottle.
Weird.
And then the cashier rings it up, and then they put that inside of a bag, and then they twist tie the bag.
Okay.
I guess I'm assuming that shows that it's duty free and you're not trying to bring in alcohol. But yeah, so it's this whole system.
All right.
We bought a giant bottle of Bullet. They had Bullet right there.
Okay.
We bought a giant bottle of Tanqueray and a giant bottle of a fancy vodka. Grey Goose, let's say. I don't even know if it was Grey Goose.
No tequila?
No tequila. Tequila's later.
Later.
And I will tell you that I was very concerned about consuming all that alcohol because that was a lot of alcohol in 1 week.
Yeah. That's
by the last day, Jared, it was not a problem. It was completely wiped out.
You guys had the bottles turned over, dripping out into cups for emergency rations.
Yeah, the very last, we'll sort of skip around, but the very last day we were there, all the families that were left, because some people came early, some people left early, some people went into Cancun for a couple of days, which they hated, by the way. We had something called a progressive pool party, where we went to everybody's house that was there.
Okay.
And the goal was to drink all the booze that was at that place and eat all the food that was remaining.
Because these people were leaving.
Because they were leaving. So what are you going to do? And guess what? Nary a drop of booze was left. All the food was gone. It was like locusts came in. It was insane how much booze went.
Did anyone put the blood of a lamb on their door to prevent the locusts from cleaning them out?
Nobody did, and that's the reason why it was all gone.
It's fitting that it is Passover season.
Yeah. But so we got down there, and you were going to ask about speaking Spanish.
I gotta ask all kinds of questions.
Keep in mind that every child that was down there,
yes,
with the exception of the ones who were too young to be in school, could speak Spanish. And I think that Audrey spoke less Spanish this time than she did last time we were there. It was a struggle to get her. Like she gets very nervous about it, doesn't want to go talk to people. We're like, just go up there with your friends and talk to them.
Yeah.
There was probably out of the, let's say, 12 kids there that spoke Spanish. Maybe 2 of them were really aggressive on it, but it's always assumed that everybody speaks English. So that's sort of what comes up. So that was a bit of a disappointment.
Has she? So now she's not in Spanish class anymore, is she?
She is not, but she's not in like a total immersion. But she does take 2 classes in middle school that are all Spanish.
Oh, okay. So it's not like she's just losing the language because she's not in it anymore.
I think she has like a Spanish, just a straight up Spanish class where they do some culture stuff in there as well. But then I think she takes social studies in Spanish. And so you're learning some words and some stuff that you wouldn't normally use. So,
do you think if any sort of boundary, like mental boundary, was removed, that she could carry on a conversation with someone in Spanish?
Absolutely.
And it's just,
I know, she understood most of what people were saying.
It's just purely mental. She just doesn't want to do it.
If she were an exchange student, she would be fine.
Okay.
Absolutely fine. She would be way better off than when I took German for 4 years or whatever. I mean, keep in mind, in her first few years of elementary school, it was like a 90-10 or an 80-20 English or Spanish to English. I mean, that's all they talked. So she's pretty comfortable with it. I think as she goes on and doesn't use it as much, it will be stale.
Yeah.
But I think, generally speaking, that will always be with her.
Okay.
So
just not in front of you.
Not in front of me. And I think if she were forced to use it in a situation where she had no choice.
Like if you were traveling through the Mexican countryside and you suddenly came upon one of these sketchy checkpoints, and you were in danger of maybe being taken hostage and ransomed, she might be able to talk her way out of it. Get you guys free. Or negotiate a settlement right there on the spot.
At least free herself.
Okay. I mean, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah,
self-preservation.
The parents may not get it. One of my favorite.
Somebody's got to pay the ransom.
One of my favorite things when I got there, we walked to the town square. And I had my phone out. Like, I can't believe this. I was like, I can't believe I'm getting LTE service pretty much, in a small little tourist town in, 30 miles from anywhere. And
what comes in off the ocean, right?
Yeah, it's right off the ocean, just sort of comes in with the tides.
Yeah.
I was playing Pokemon Go. First Pokemon I caught was one that I've been trying to catch here for years. And I text you right away. What did I say?
What'd you say?
I said, first Pokemon, Magmar.
Oh, yeah.
And then you said, like, Trip's already paying for itself. And it was. And then I later on, I caught one of the rare, I guess, Central American Pokemon right away.
It was like the Heracross or something?
Yes, it was like a beetle type of thing. That was pretty surprising that if I become speechless over technology, I am amazed how much of an equalizer that can be, because many people down there had cell phones.
Yeah.
They may not have been the nicest cell phones, but they had smartphones. And my guess is that that's probably how a lot of the general population would access the internet. I mean, people don't have laptops, stuff like that, but a phone, anybody can afford something. And if you can afford a data plan, you can text or you can search the internet.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a great thing. I think it's an absolutely great thing. So yeah, that was interesting to be down there and still be doing the same things we do here. The other 2 things I want to make note of.
Yep.
One, my negotiating skills with people down there trying to sell us goods. Last time we went, I was very nervous about it.
Yeah.
And this time, not so much. And the reason why was last spring break, when I went to visit my parents in Arizona, who they live right on the Mexican border. We went over there just to check it out, and I watched my dad in action. And my dad, I love him, but boy, he is a master negotiator, almost a cheapskate, almost to the point of embarrassment. Like my stepmom was like, oh boy, these people got to earn a living here. They would say $25 for it, and my dad would be like $2. I mean, it really would be
a really low ball offer.
Really low ball him. But
would he be there for like half a day?
Yeah, he would be
price?
like he would work them for a good 10 to 15 minutes.
It's more important to get the best price than it is to get a solid deal and then go on with your day.
Yes.
Okay.
So I, even though I was not at all interested in negotiating, I wasn't really interested in most of the stuff that's in your stance because it's sort of depressing and a lot of it's junky stuff that, whatever. But sometimes, my wife might see a dress or a necklace or whatever, or Audrey sees a bracelet, or my sunglasses happen to break, so I needed a new pair of sunglasses. And I was a master negotiator like my father, Jared.
Oh, yeah?
You know what my technique was?
What's that?
They would give me a price.
Yeah.
And I would just, let's say they would say 20 US.
Okay.
And I would say, oh my God, that's too much. Way too much.
You're like,
and then I would go like $6. And they'd go, no, $12. And I look at them, I go, $6.
oh. He comes back with the same low
Yeah,
ball.
like I did that.
I won't budge.
I did that a few times, and they literally caved to my demands. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Like,
and then
like,
once it happens once, you're filled with confidence.
Yeah, like I named a price, and then they're like, then I like would throw them a deal like, okay, I'll give you $6, or I'll give you 600 pesos and $1 US, and then they would be sort of dejected, and like, okay, and then they would do it.
I give you best deal.
Yeah. And so then I started getting a little cocky, and I started mastering the strategy of bundling.
Oh,
so you bundle deals. I learned that on American Pickers.
Sure. Yeah.
So we were with one of Audrey's friends and her mom really wanted this dress, and they came back. She was like, "What can we get for that dress?" And I think that they said like $40.
Okay.
And Betsy was getting, it was $30, and she was very, very excited about it. And I'm like, no, Betsy. I'm like, no, you can't afford that. And she's like, what? So I sort of step in, and I say,
you don't take the first offer.
I think I said 15. I cut it down in half, and the guy was like, no, 15, you're crazy. But then Audrey wanted these little hand-woven bracelets. And what they do down there for display purposes, instead of just having one separately, they kind of tie them in a big bundle of like 5 or 6.
Okay.
And Audrey wanted to get them all for her friends. So that was going to be a friend thing. So we're like, well, how much for those bracelets over there? And he was like, $5 for one. And I'm like, no, for all of them. And then he gave me some outlandish number. And
$200 for 5.
I mean, it was like he was like $15. So I'm like, how about this? We'll give the dress and all 6 of those bracelets for $20. And the guy was like, okay, yes. I mean, it's another sad thing. And like Betsy was shocked. Audrey was shocked. I was shocked that it played through. I got some I got some cheap sunglasses. We call them Ray-Bans. Because my sunglasses down there literally shattered in my hand, probably from heat. I don't know what happened.
Sure.
And he quoted $20.
Ray-Ban.
Ray-Ban. And I said $5. And I literally looked at him and said, $5. And he was like, okay, fine, $5. Literally, it was like he knew I wasn't going to negotiate anything more than that.
Was his name Ray?
His name was Ray. He said, these are my bands, man. These are my bands. So I was doing pretty well there.
Nice.
So final story, and then we'll move on to our Star Wars news. Our skirmish with
the law.
Well, I mean, I guess there was 2 stories. There was a point when we had a scheduled trip to a local snorkel park, which is kind of like a Disney World type place down there. They have a few of these little parks, but
sort of sentence that you can really only say about a tropical vacation.
Yes, I mean
the local snorkel park.
It's like this giant inlet where it's a big touristy thing.
Sure.
And you go. It's an all-inclusive situation where you get all your food for free. So it's like going to a hotel without the hotel. And then this whole snorkel park where you get your equipment and you go out and swim around. You can go to like a natural lazy river.
The snorkel.
Yeah, and you've got
you've
got like rope courses and
Sure.
cliff jumps and stuff like that. But the Type A personalities that I was talking about earlier, they set up like all of our transportation through the property rental place.
Okay, cool.
So we get up early. All these people, probably 45 people. There's three vans, really nice like Mercedes vans or something.
Nice.
And we get on, and then all of a sudden, the federales come up.
Oh.
And
these are cartel vans?
Yeah, they take us completely off. They're like, you got to get off this. And we're thinking that, because we'd already paid.
Yeah.
We're thinking that we're going to get a shakedown. Like, we're going to have to pay more or we're not going to be able to go. And there ended up being like this back and forth between the taxi drivers that were driving our vehicle, the person that sort of set this up, the person that ran the properties that were helping with all this stuff, and then one of our people.
Okay.
And we sort of find out that like there is a taxi union down there that's kind of in cahoots with like the local government. And if you don't do your trips and stuff through them, if the police find out, they'll kind of come and shake you down. And I guess that this is very
they got to get their cut.
They got to get their cut. And they didn't. Apparently, they didn't get the cut. So the original vans that we were supposed to go in, they were like taken off. And then these other sort of replacement vans came in. Not as nice. We had different drivers. They were sort of dumpy.
Replacement vans, folks.
And we didn't actually have to pay more. I was shocked.
Oh,
like we all
just got a lesser quality van.
We got a lesser quality van, and I think the original setup that we already paid. I think that a cut of that had to go to this cartel, and those vans were impounded in Cancun.
Oh my!
and they had the owners had to go down and spend a day in Cancun to try to get these things out of there.
So this had nothing
and
to
that
do.
stuff happens all the time.
This had nothing to do with you guys, though. This was the transportation people just didn't make their proper arrangements.
Or when we say proper, you air quote it as proper for everybody getting their share of what's going on.
It wasn't like the people on your side organizing it had to make this stuff. It was the people they were contracting with had to make this arrangement, and they didn't do their part. So their vans got confiscated and impounded.
I still was very surprised that we didn't have to pay anything because everybody thought, and we already paid like $20 a head to get there and get back. So it would have been a bit costly. And the interesting thing was that these vans, when they went down there, like they just sat around in the parking lot waiting for us all day. We got there at 10, and we didn't leave till like 6.
Wow. So it's not like they had other, like, we're in the area, we're going to do some other jobs.
It was like Mexican mafia guys. They just sat around, and who the hell knows what they did.
Huh.
But they were very nice, and we tipped them at the end. We didn't cause any trouble, and they thought we were, idiot gringos, except when the kids would start speaking Spanish and surprise them. But yeah, it was a pretty crazy trip.
Surprise them and like, oh, we know what you're saying. We know how you're talking about us.
And there was a couple people down there in our group that rented cars, which I would find that to be insane to be down there.
Yeah.
And we had read stories about how some of this weird cartel stuff is not. It's starting to become a bigger problem. Like Cancun usually is pretty decent. I mean, there are crime areas obviously in Mexico, but it doesn't tend to spread to the big touristy areas because they know that that's an easy moneymaker, and if you scare people away, they're just not going to go.
Yeah.
So
so
the Riviera Maya area where we were at, it tends to be pretty above board.
Okay.
But there have been recent stories about people that are renting cars. Maybe they don't rent it through a Hertz, they rent it through like a local place, and they they're in the airport, they go to the place, and they're supposed to drive them to where their car is, and they drive them out into the middle of like a field.
Oh my God.
And then say you're going to have to pay more. The original deal doesn't stand. I mean, that's happening. And like if you rent cars down there, a lot of times they'll be red to alert the police that if you do anything wrong, they can pull you over. And if you get pulled over, you're not supposed to give them your license. You're not supposed to you should hide your money essentially and just offer them maybe $10 because you're going to get shaken down. Most of the time, they're not going to take you to the the police station, but they just want a cut, and you're an easy mark. So what are you going to do?
Ugh. So what's the alternative to get around if you don't want to?
Taxi, and there's also a couple of local bus places. There was like a local bus in town, which it's a small town. I didn't really understood how it worked, but whatever. But there's another one that we took back in the day where you just go out to the highway, which for us would have been a taxi ride, and another one, but you could pretty much go up and down the highway for $1.
Wow.
But you have to be a bit braver to do that.
Okay.
We took one taxi ride into the main part of town because we were on the coast, but the main part's about a mile inland, and it was $1.50. $1.50 to get to the grocery store.
Nice.
Bought stuff. Taxi's waiting for us. Another $1.50 back. Keep in mind it's all in pesos because if it's dollars, they will charge you more. So, so the last story is, we talked about how this group was big, and I sort of felt like I was a bit of an outsider, whether it was real or imagined. But there was going to be a ladies' night, so all the dads that were there decided they were going to have a guys' night out.
As you do,
and it's interesting because the women definitely hang out more socially than the guys. So it was a lot of like, a few of the guys hung out, but not everybody. So it was kind of feeling each other out.
Well,
and
the wives are hanging out. The fellas got to be home with the kids.
Yes, it's exactly. Or they're playing. A lot of these guys play hockey. They do stuff. They fish. But so we go to a restaurant. Then we end up going to this local watering hole. And it's, I don't remember what it was called, but one of the guys that is in our group is like your sales guy. Like, he is the guy that knows everybody. You know, he can talk up a storm. He can make connections. And we find out that the owner of this second bar that we went to, the owner owns Billy's on Grand in St. Paul.
Okay.
And this was like they're actually building another Billy's, I think, in downtown St. Paul or somewhere called Cancun Billy's or something like that. And this might even been called Billy's.
Is this guy's name Billy?
It's not Billy.
Oh.
But so the manager that is there was just in Minnesota the other day.
Yeah.
And this guy kind of like knew him, like it was like a 1 degree of separation. So they're like emailing the main boss, and the sales guy actually has his company is going to build this new bar.
Wow.
So all of a sudden now we are like in like Flynn with this bar.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately when that happens, and by the way, there's a cover band there.
Okay.
And the first thing that they're playing is Don't Stop Believing by Journey. And these guys, you know, we're sort of drunk at this point, but like the entire group of dads like, these guys are the best thing ever. So then they're going down like all the hits. They're covering Nirvana. They're covering, you know, Brown Eyed Girl. Every single stereotypical stupid song that you would hear that when you're drunk, they're hitting it all.
Nice.
And the bar is like bringing a shot after shot after shot of tequila.
Is it good tequila?
Well, I was drinking other tequila with another guy, which it was good tequila. The stuff they were bringing us probably not as good tequila.
No.
But I'm telling you that at that point, it really didn't matter.
No, it's all just input.
And so you've got all these dads here that
It's like
are
Johnny Five need input.
Yeah, these dads that are freaking out because they're like, "Are we going to get shit faced tonight? What's
Is
going
this
on?
happening?
Yeah, is this happening?" And there was one guy.
It was happening.
One guy who is Audrey's best friend, or one of her best friends' dad, who had a little too much. Like, he drank all the shots.
Wow.
He didn't like push them over to the side, or if somebody pushed their shot off, he probably drank it. And like, he went up to the bar.
Yeah.
And was like standing up there. We don't know what he was doing. Like, I'm trying to figure
out. The booze is coming to you. Where are you going?
Because I'm watching him.
I just want a Bud Light.
And he was up there for, you know, a good 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
And eventually we settle up. And I'm the guy, I guess I'm the sober guy who has to try to figure out all this money. And so it's all in pesos. Initially, the salesperson guy was going to, like, I'm just going to pay with my card. We're going to call this a business expense. Like, awesome. And like, well, we don't take cards here. A lot of places don't take cards.
Yeah.
So he literally just throws all his pesos out and said, this is my contribution. So I'm trying to get all this stuff together. Ends up being, you know, for, I don't know how many rounds of shots, but there was probably four total rounds of tequila shots, tons of beer. By the way, beer down there is like $1.50.
Okay.
But still, you're doing this stuff. I mean, it was a good, for all of us, you know, $250 tab, which is pretty good amount here, but for 12 guys down there, that goes a long way.
Sure.
And so we get out, and then we're sort of waiting for everybody, and the drunk guy, I play tennis with him. He's a good guy. He just had a little too much.
No names.
He's getting a little bit upset.
What?
And he says, I went up to the bar, and I gave them all my pesos to put towards the bill. And I don't think that they did. And we're like, well, how much was it? And he's like, 2,000 pesos, which is a lot of money down there. If you're thinking the exchange rate's about 20 pesos to $1, it's, you know.
It's not now.
Yeah. And
oh, wait. Yeah, it is. They're about 5 cents.
Yeah. So it might have been even more than that, but it was a substantial amount of money. And he was getting to the point where he's like, we need to go back in there and tell them, you know, figure this out. And I am like standing in front of him, you know. I mean, he wasn't rushing it, but I'm like, no, we're not going in there after everything that happened, and we're going to go and make a scene. So we're just going to eat this one up. We're going to find out if this is true or not. And some of his other friends are like, Shane, he didn't pay any money. He's full of crap. He's just saying that. So we get him back. We get him back to his wife.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, by the way, Brad says. He says that he spent all of his money there. We don't know what's going on, so let's just sober up tomorrow morning, and then we'll figure it out. She's like, fine, whatever. And she was really annoyed. And the next day, by the way, you don't see him.
Uh-oh.
He's totally got, like, and they had this big fishing trip planned.
Yeah.
Had to miss it.
Just too hungover or something?
Too hungover. So the end of the story, we find out that we think that he did pay some. Okay. But he said, I honestly don't remember how much it was. And it could have been, this is my theory that maybe those free shots that we were getting from the bar, maybe that's what that money went towards. Like he went up and said,
just keep them coming.
Give us 2 or 3 rounds, and whatever this will cover. That's how I'm going to think about it, because they were very, very nice to us, and I would be very disappointed if they ripped us off. But it was really fun, and I woke up with a slight sour stomach, Jared, but beyond that, I was ready to go. Tequila, not my friend, but this time around, not bad.
Was that was right at the end of your trip, right?
It was midway, and our trip was like 10 days. It was a long trip.
Yeah, it was a long one.
So I enjoyed it. I would love to go back. I don't know if we'll ever be able to schedule a trip like that where you can have all 60 people go. I think it was lightning in a bottle.
Logistical nightmare.
But the one thing that I did learn is that I love traveling with other people besides my family, because if I were down there with Audrey and Carrie for 10 days, the chances of us getting in a fight or just getting aggravated with each other, not everybody being on the same page, is pretty high. But with something like this, like, hey, if you wanted to go next door to your neighbors and hang out at their pool or just sit at your pool, you could do it, and you wouldn't feel bad if your kids if Audrey went to the beach with her friends or whatever. It was perfectly fine. But the other thing is, I think about like when I was a kid, we never went on a vacation.
No,
like I went on 2 vacations in my life, and it was driving to Texas to visit family. Beyond that, we may have went to the Wisconsin Dells once. But to think to be in 6th grade or 7th grade and have gone on 2 trips to Mexico, to go to Arizona, to fly on planes, those kids are so not in reality. To think that that's totally normal. And I'm happy I can do it, but I still think it's crazy that if they think that's the norm, I guess I don't know what life's going to bring them, but
that comes down to parenting too.
It does. Yeah. Bad parenting. That's what it is. Thank you, Jared.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to, as long as you're instilling proper values and proper perspective in your child, then she won't think that that's just how things are.
There we go. Well, so maybe one day, Jared, we can go on vacation and party hardy. Yeah, it's fun to go with other people. I would highly recommend it, especially if you go with a large enough group where not everyone always has to hang out, or you could have 2 different groups do 2 different things.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice, because sometimes you just... I'm never in favor of a vacation where it's just wall-to-wall activities planned. So it's nice to have a little ebb and flow. Like if you want to just relax for a while,
you can
not do anything, you can do that and not feel like you're harshing someone else's buzz. Or, if your partner or your rest of your family wants to go do something and you're not really feeling it, you just want to, hang out by the pool.
Yep, that's exactly
You can do that when you're in a larger group, because there's people to absorb that energy.
Totally. And that's what happened. I mean, some people, there were probably activities planned almost every day, and you could go on those if you wanted to. But if you didn't, that was okay. And trust me, I spent a lot of time by the pool. Where's my water? Did it fall out?
I don't know, but...
Damn it. Anyway, so
you'll be fine. We're almost done.
So that was my vacation.
Nice.
Totally recommend it. I came back with a good drink, a good mango drink, which I'm going to make sometime. You should come over and try it.
What's the base alcohol?
It's vodka, believe it or not. Vodka, mango, cinnamon is a key ingredient.
Interesting.
It's very strange, but very delicious.
But it works, you say.
But it works.
All right.
So quickly, Jared, we talked vacation, but I do want to talk about the other big news that happened today.
Yes.
It was the Star Wars The Last Jedi trailer.
Hashtag Swoko.
It happened at Star Wars Celebration, which is going on. It will be over by the time the show is posted.
Correct.
But we are giving you a fresh take on this. So the interesting thing about this trailer, Jared, it much later to see anything from The Last Jedi than we did The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
I think by a number of months,
We
correct?
saw our first teaser for The Force Awakens Thanksgiving the year before. So, yeah, well in advance. On over a year before the movie came. And that's understandable given that Star Wars was relaunching.
Yes.
So you got to give it time to build it up.
And the other thing is you are still dealing with Rogue One. So,
sure.
I'm clear I can just see like a timeline of how they have okay, this is when marketing for this starts, and this is when it ends.
Rogue One is now out on Blu-ray and digital, so we're sort of closing the book on that one. Now it's time to start pushing the Last Jedi.
It's going to be interesting how The Last Jedi segues into the Han Solo movie, which still is scheduled to come out in May of next year, and then you will have a year and a half of no Star Wars. Which I actually think is smart, if you want to know the truth, because it will build anticipation for the last part of the trilogy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Star Wars usually was on a 3-year release cycle before.
And now they're doing 2 years for the saga movies, but every year there's a Star Wars movie.
Yes. So it'll be interesting. But we're way ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about the Last Jedi trailer. Jared.
Yes.
Very Luke Skywalker heavy for once. Very Rey heavy.
Of course.
And it is dealing with the immediate after impact of Rey finding Luke on that weird floaty island.
It has a name, but I can't remember what it is.
So some interesting, no new characters really, but some interesting new vehicles.
We met a new character in the panel.
Yeah.
Her name is Rose, the character's name, and she's played by an Asian actress whose name I can't remember. But apparently she's a mechanic or something that joins the Resistance.
Yes.
But she's not in the trailer, so we didn't really get any action shots of her.
Yeah, you saw one picture still of like in some sort of mechanic outfit. What else did we see? We saw maybe another scene from the Jedi Temple flashback with Luke and R2. Yep. What else did we see?
There's a lot of training. What we assume are training shots on the island with Luke and Rey. We've got some scenes of destruction. There's you mentioned the what's probably part of the flashback, but there's also what are probably some contemporary fire shots. You've got like Captain Phasma and some stormtroopers coming out of the flames. You've got Kylo Ren unmasked with his lightsaber with some flames behind him. Yep. So obviously there's some destruction going on there. Our only shot of Finn is him locked up in a tube, apparently still recovering from his injuries.
Yep.
So we don't really know what his fate is. Although we have seen during the panel, Rian Johnson did show some stills from the sets, and he's up and about. So obviously he recovers, and he's there. We see only a couple shots of Poe Dameron and BB-8 rushing towards what looks like a hangar on possibly a ship, maybe just a base. We don't know for sure.
Yep.
With his X-wing, looks like it's going to be engulfed in flames. Terrible.
Bad news. And by the way, there is another vehicle in that shot as well.
Mm-hmm.
What's the? I can't even remember which one. It's not a B-wing. But sort of the flat...
the A-Wings.
The A-Wing is sort of on the side.
Okay, because we do see those, and there's like a quick battle montage later on, or just a shot where there's, sort of ships.
Yep.
Not really colliding, but headed towards each other.
A proper space battle in this episode, which was not in the last one.
There's X-Wings and A-Wings in there. I'm assuming the A-Wings have been updated as well, just like the X-Wings have, so they look a little bit more sleek or something. I mean, it's so quick, you can't really tell. And a bunch of other capital ships that I don't recognize. Gosh, I think one of the most not iconic, but visually arresting shots is what looks like I think it's a salt flat.
Yeah, it could be snow, it could be salt. There's debate on that, whether it's like a Hoth type of planet or something else.
I think you can make out sort of like dry, cracked surface in some of the footage.
But the rumor is that you're going to see snowtroopers in that, so it might be cold.
Okay.
But
interesting.
It's almost like a Hoth 2.0. I think that's what some people are.
So these ships that we don't really know what they are, but they look sort of like, they don't look like snow speeders, but they're sort of reminiscent to that in that they are low to the ground and they're I don't know, do they have something dragging down that is like kicking up this red dust?
It's like they're almost like pod racer pods mixed with that other
like the B-Wing kind of.
The B-Wing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one with the rotating cockpit, is that the B-Wing?
That's the B-Wing. Come on.
I'm forgetting. Not the Y-Wing. There's a Y-Wing, there's a B-Wing, there's an X-Wing, and what's the other one?
A-Wing.
A-Wing, yes.
There's also a U-Wing now.
A lot of wings, Jared.
Yeah, everything's a wing.
What a terrible fan.
But there's like a couple shots there. Just some of the most stunning stuff there. I mean, just the bright red that's being kicked up.
It's like perfectly white and then red dust coming up.
And
very
very
impressive.
We get a little peek at some what look like Imperial walkers off in the distance.
Definitely Imperial walkers.
Slick. We get to see the First Order take on that.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff you can. There's a couple different trailer breakdowns over at IO9. I saw one at The Verge. I think did one. They go through every shot and find all the little Easter eggs and everything that's in there. But what'd you think of the trailer?
I liked it. I mean, I think that it's a long time coming.
Yes.
I really hope we don't see Luke as that much of a sad sack because he's my all-time favorite Star Wars character. So I'm hoping that he's going to be gruff, but he's going to come around in the end.
Well, he closes the trailer by saying it's time for the Jedi to end.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I'm hoping that there's more to that than him just being a negative Nelly.
I mean, it's a very shocking way to end it, especially, with how Jedi are so intertwined in the Star Wars saga.
Yes. I mean, I just really want to see what happens. There's a part of me that feels like we're going to see a Kylo Ren that adopts more of a Darth Vader look.
Think so?
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like his emulation is going to skew closer to that.
I mean, we do see his Kylo Ren helmet from the first film smashed into pieces. So
maybe he gets a helmet that's a bit more like one of the concepts of what Darth Vader was. The Ralph McQuarrie.
Maybe he goes helmetless.
Yeah, he could be too, because that's what you see him in.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. They didn't show a ton. So
no, the nice thing about this. First of all, it's billed as a teaser trailer, so it's meant to sort of introduce you to some of the new things and revisit some of the characters we know already and just, whet the appetite. You're not going to get any story details for the most part. So there you go.
Yeah, I wonder how much longer we're going to have to wait to see more, like what their trailer schedule. Probably something this summer.
Yeah.
We'll see something late summer.
I don't know if...
Or maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, I think we'll see something this summer, for sure. Excuse me. My takeaway is, and I've watched it a few times now, is that I don't know I can't quite put my finger on it yet as far as what the visual look is, but it looks like Star Wars, but it also looks different.
Yeah.
Like there's the cinematography to me is just so gripping.
The shot, the way things are shot and framed seems pretty unique.
Right. And maybe they're doing something with the color grading too that just makes everything really pop. But it feels like Star Wars, but it also feels like a modern Star Wars to my eye.
Like the shot of Rey training on the rock from a distance, swinging the lightsaber, and you see Luke standing there. It just the way
there's
framed,
aerial overhead shots, and there's just a lot of movement that is just really, really. I found it really interesting.
And Ryan is a pretty interesting director. He did Looper, which is a crazy good movie. What else Hamill listed off of his entire filmography when he came out there.
He hasn't done a lot.
No,
he's a young director and writer. He wrote this one as well.
Yeah,
and he sort of
and he's writing the third one too, right?
I think so.
Or co-writing it?
Ryan Johnson. Let's see here.
It's spelled with an I, Jared.
I know. Let's see here. Oh, he did some Breaking Bad episodes. Okay, Looper. He did an episode of Terriers. The Brothers Bloom, Brick. Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, Looper and The Last Jedi are his big credits. Let's see. Writing, he did the story treatment so far for episode 9. So doesn't mean the screenplay probably isn't finished yet. I think they're rumored to be starting production on that this summer, but we'll see.
Did you see the other specific news from that movie that Princess Leia will not be in that?
In 9?
Yep, that was announced by...
Wait, they said she was going to be
Her
in
brother said that she was, but Kathleen Kennedy said today she will not be in it.
I missed that. Okay.
That broke fairly early, or fairly close to the show starting. So so she will not be in it. So there's a very good chance that Princess Leia could die in this movie.
It's so sad.
Yeah, would be sad.
It's sad. I mean, we got the tribute reel yesterday during the 40th anniversary panel. Mark Hamill was scheduled to do a special tribute panel this evening, which has already, as of this recording, has happened. It hasn't been posted online yet. And who knows, maybe it won't be. That's the sort of thing that maybe
they keep for
that's
them.
Just for the people there.
Yep.
They like to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think that it's just going to show you that Star Wars is going to keep going on strong. I think it's very possible we might see some sort of little snippet of the Han Solo something or other.
I feel like, do they...
Even just a taste, a shot?
Do they have a title yet? I think that's my big question. Or is it just Red Cup?
Did they announce the Rogue One at The Force Awakens? Or
like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they did. But we knew in advance of Celebration last year that there was going to be Rogue One. But I could be wrong about that.
No, I thought that we knew before that. But maybe, they didn't show footage.
No. So, I don't know.
Interesting.
I would love to have a title, but at the same time, does it really matter? I don't know. I guess I'm hungry for Star Wars news at this point.
Yeah. The Force Awakens leads into The Last Jedi, and that's fine with me. I don't need I don't need too much more than that. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see the next little tidbits of news just sort of sprinkle out, because I'm sure that, I mean, it's all so calculated that it's going to be a good 6 months or so.
Yeah. And beyond the Last Jedi news, some other bits that we've gotten so far this weekend is we got official announcement of Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yep.
Which is kind of a pan Star Wars now. It's going to cover prequels, original trilogy, and the new films. So that could be a lot of fun. I think
sure.
The teaser trailer for that looks really, really interesting.
Causing a little bit of consternation, the fact that it's got a female protagonist, and people,
oh, no.
the dude bros out there are so angry that it's women, 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 women in this new world of Star Wars.
Too bad.
It's still Star Wars. Give me a break.
Yeah. What else? They announced a bunch of books. There's a Captain Phasma book coming out this fall.
So we finally get a little bit of interesting stuff with Phasma?
Yeah. Yeah, this is all like part of their road to The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Marketing push.
So just like what they did with The Force Awakens, where they had book after book, which I read almost all of them.
Yep.
I'm reading one right now, the Star Wars Aftermath, Empire's End. It's sort of it's culminating with, I think, the battle over Jakku. Jakku, very important planet.
Yeah.
It's not a planet that's just there for no reason, Jared.
Okay. Good to know.
Yep.
Is the Thrawn book on your list? Are you going to read that?
It's not on my list, but I could.
Yeah. I hear it's good. That's what I hear.
Yeah. And
I hear things.
We'll get speaking of Star Wars news, we'll get more Star Wars Rebels news, but
that's happening on Saturday, and this is Friday, so we don't have any news on that. But
I think they verified that Ahsoka will be coming back.
Yeah.
That Captain Rex more than likely appeared in Return of the Jedi. What else? That's about it. I'm sure there'll be other information.
So I'm excited for season 4 of Rebels. I mean, they some people are saying this could be the last one. They also said that about season 3, so who really knows? But they are getting closer and closer to a New Hope time period, so things are probably winding down on Rebels.
Yeah, I would like to see what they do next. I mean, when I say next, beyond Rebels, like I want to know what the next animated series is going to be. Sure,
because there will be.
Yeah.
Will it? Another.
I'd like to see a post-Jedi.
That's what I was thinking.
Didn't
they say that there was going to be something post-Jedi after Rebels is over?
That was a rumor. Who knows?
It makes the most sense because there's a huge gap. We got to fill that in.
And they're doing some of that with the books, but trust me, a lot of story to be told.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
So Star Wars Celebration, one of Jared and my favorite times of year, and we're right in the heart of it.
It is nice that they live stream, a lot of the panels.
Yes.
You can just kind of throw it on in the corner while you're working. And
it's a totally different world, even compared to a few years ago when they did not do that.
And we don't get one next year, so live it up.
Yep, live it up because...
Or if you're listening to this on Monday, because you probably are, I'm sorry you didn't live it up.
Lived it up.
You're a failure.
Lived it up.
We are over an hour. Holy cow.
Yeah, we talk a lot when Adam's not here. It's ridiculous. I think Adam limits us, doesn't he?
He does.
Well, let's take a quick break.
You can see the weariness on his face, how badly he wants to leave.
He's got to get to Arby's and refill his soda cup.
Indeed.
So let's take a break. We'll be back with more Scope right after this.
Look out for the laser! It's the Scope. Under the Scope.
We're back with more Scope, and it would not be the Scope without a little coming soon. And I'm taking over for Adam. I've got the most comprehensive, robust list of all culture items coming in the next week.
Yeah.
So buckle up, Jared. It's going to be a lot of fun as we cut through all
what do
of
we got?
So music for the week of April 21st. We've got Brad Paisley.
Okay.
Love and War. Your favorite band ever, Jared, Incubus, is back with their album 8.
Not my favorite ever, but okay.
Okay, this is your favorite band, Maximo Park.
I love them. Who are they?
They're sort of a metal indie band, I guess.
Okay.
The Kinks' Ray Davies has got a album coming out. Robin Hitchcock album coming out. Sheryl Crow with her album Be Myself. The Black Angels, and also the band Woods with new releases coming out April 21st. Things come out on Fridays now, Jared.
That has been an interesting shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonder why that is.
It
used to be Tuesdays. Now it's Fridays.
There was a reason for it, but I don't know. Maybe people are more interested in buying stuff on Fridays.
Then get that.
Couldn't tell you.
You get that paycheck, and you leave your job, and you go right down to the Best Buy, and you buy a CD, right?
Yeah, I was explaining to Audrey
Who does that?
My daughter, just how Jared and I, every Tuesday, we would go buy all sorts of DVDs and we'd buy all sorts of CDs. Like, we would spend a lot of money on that crap.
I know.
And now, it's like a distant memory.
I know.
Movies.
Now we just pay for streaming services.
That's right.
We're still paying for it.
We
probably
probably are paying less, though. Movies, April 21st. A huge week in movies, Jared. I mean, you're going to want to see every single one of these. We'll start with Unforgettable, starring Katherine Heigl and Rosario Dawson. It's sort of a single white female type of thing, but it's not really single. It's about a woman who has a husband, gets divorced, but she doesn't like the new wife that's in the picture, so it's a lot of crazy, murderous type stuff.
Yawn.
We've got, speaking of Star Wars, Oscar Isaac and Christian Bale in the new movie The Promise. It's a period piece set in the fall of the Ottoman Empire, so that would be World War I.
Okay.
Don't know much about that. We got a Disney film called Born in China. It's a documentary following 3 animal families that all live in China. I know pandas are a big part of this one. And then we've got one where I've actually watched the trailer. There's a part of me that's interested, but also a part of me that thinks this could be garbage. It's called Phoenix Forgotten, and it's a found footage movie about the very famous in real life case of a bunch of lights over the city of Phoenix in 1997.
Okay.
And
you can tell it's found footage because the poster has like VHS
of course it is.
distortion all over the.
But that stuff is actually real. Like if you go and you look up the Phoenix lights 1997, tons of different people film this stuff happening.
Interesting.
Over the city. It's kind of interesting.
So this is a fictional found footage film.
Exactly.
Based on a real life
Guess
story.
what? It's probably alien related, Jared.
Okay.
And a lot of nastiness.
Okay.
Finally, for video games, Jared, a terrible week for video games, except for one.
Okay.
It's a game. I couldn't find anything. It's coming out for PS4, Xbox One. Yeah. It's called Shiness. SHINESS, and the box art looked official. So when I went into the profile for this particular game, this is what the description read, and I know you're going to be in 100%. Shiness is a fantasy role-playing game with fighting game style battles. So you're all in, right? I mean, that's a $60 sale.
Is this Shiness, the Lightning Kingdom?
That's it.
Okay. They have a website with full motion video in the background. It looks very kind of like anime-ish.
It's a fantasy role-playing game with fighting game style battles.
Okay.
So
is that the only game coming out?
That's it, Jared. Nothing. We're going to be bypassing Hit It or Miss It because there's nothing. I guess you could say miss it for most of these things.
Your hit is the Star Wars The Last Jedi teaser trailer.
There we go. Watch that over and over again. So there we go. Done. All done. The funniest part of the show right there.
All right.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Under the scope.
Back to you, Gerard Depardieu.
The program director for my talk came up with a nickname for me today, and I'm trying to remember what it was now.
It was Puddin' Joe, wasn't it?
No, it was not. It was like, but it was my name combined with something else, like Pyramid or something. It was like Jaramid. That's what it was. Like, I don't know where this came from, but... And she didn't know either. Just laughed. Jaramid. She called me Jaramid.
Are you like a Ponzi scheme guy or what?
No, but I said I was going to drop my mixtape next week. Jaramid. All right, folks. How was your vacation, your spring break? Did you go anywhere? Did you travel? Did you have a good time?
Tell us about it.
Were you in the bar that one night when Shane was drinking tequila shots until he couldn't see?
Yeah. I had 3, I think.
That's it?
Well, I was drinking a lot before that, too.
Okay.
$1.50 beer. Sol, Jared. Sol. S-O-L.
Sol.
That means sun in Spanish.
Sol. It's like you're drinking the sun. Hey, you can email us at comments@thescopeshow.com or call our voicemail line at 612-21-SCOPE. That is 612-217-2673. Or find us on social media. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. Those links are on our website, thescopeshow.com. Or you can watch most of this episode because the first part's going to get lost because I didn't format the drive that it's recording on, but the rest of it is there. That's on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thescopeshow. Check it out. If you'd like to support the show, we're on Patreon, as mentioned earlier, patreon.com/thescopeshow. You can pledge as little as $1 an episode, set a monthly cap, or cancel anytime. Or if you shop at Amazon, just go to thescopeshow.com/Amazon. Click on that affiliate link, and a small portion of your purchase goes into our pockets. Doesn't cost you anything, and helps out the show tremendously. Shane, back to you.
Wow, what a fantastic read. What a champion, Jared. Not one sound effect this episode. You were too busy.
Wow, what a
communicating
champion.
with me. There we go.
Double bitches.
Get them all in, quick.
Adam has it exactly right.
What else? You only have.
Do I have any Adam?
You only have 3 sound effects.
No, I have all kinds of sound effects. I'm just trying to think.
We're standing over here in the corner judging people.
Wow,
well, that's a
blast from the
classic.
past. Here we go.
I don't know how to do interviews.
There we go. Adam made the show.
That should be an entire episode.
That one-
Oh, God! There we go. Now it's a real podcast.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, thank you for setting up your equipment on a Friday night.
I turned some switches on.
There's nothing more appealing than doing a super long podcast after a hard week of work.
Oh, I'm ready for bed. I know. I'm old. What are you
And
gonna
I
do?
didn't even talk about my new company situation, Jared. There are stories to be told there. So let's just do another show right now.
Oh, what?
No, let's not. So for Jared, I am Shane. There is no Adam, but hopefully we'll be back next week with more scope. So until then, bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. Days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode.